Before I go into this post, I just want to say one thing. Yes, I know that this subject matter is controversial, and in no way, shape or form am I trying to defend a predator, or am I trying to make light of the victims if the allegations turn out to be true. That is the last thing I would ever want. As I am sure almost every Pixar fan knows, back in 2017 there were allegations being set upon John Lasseter, where multiple women alleged him of making derogatory comments about their bodies and hugging without their consent, among other things. As such, he left Disney on his own accord. This is very crucial info that a lot of people get wrong. He wasn't fired. And starting with onward, all the films made from Pixar have zero involvement from him.
Toy Story 4 still credited him for developing the story.
Incredibles 2 was the last time he was credited as executive producer for a Pixar film. But I always was a little confused by these allegations, especially with the fact that even though almost 8 years after the fact, I still could not find any solid, unrefutable evidence that he actually did any of these things. No photographs, no videos, nothing that actually showed him sexually harassing these women, and correct me if I'm wrong. But isn't tangible evidence a very key detail in determining whether allegations are true or not? Sure, we do have these women giving second-hand accounts of stuff that happened, but it could be possible that these women were lying. Why would they lie? Maybe to gain victim status. Maybe they had a beef with Lasseter beforehand and wanted him gone. Maybe said women were just not good people, and the only way they can put themselves up is by knocking others down. I don't know. I am just spitballing here. What I am trying to say is that I can say so and so did such and such, but nobody is going to believe me unless I provide proof, like, oh, Andrew Stanton has embezzled funds from Pixar for over 20 years, or Pete Docter is in charge of multiple pyramid schemes. Does that mean those statements about those men are automatically true? Additionally, what he was accused of did not make sense to me. Now I want to make it clear that yes, undoubtedly it is wrong to make derogatory comments about women's bodies or to hug them without their consent, especially in a public workplace setting. But is this really on par with raping women or drugging women in order to have sex with them? I don't understand why people think those two actions are the exact same. Yes, both are bad, but if you ask me, having sex with women without their consent is far worse. Maybe the hugs were his way of trying to foster a more friendly and casual work environment, but it backfired. We do not know his intent because we are not him. Sometimes in life people are well-being and well-intentioned, but it goes awry and ends up biting them in the ass. So why are people claiming to know all of the knowledge of an event that they were not a part of? Honestly, if it is true that John did these things to women, why didn't any of them actually supply proof of this happening before they went public on it? Like, how hard is it to hit the record button on your cell phone and leave it in your purse so you can at least have the sound of John doing these things? Or hell, there are probably countless security cameras sprinkled all through the Pixar buildings. You would think after almost 8 years, at least one of them would have leaked that showed Lasseter making the derogatory statements or hugging the women without their consent. Especially if the women want evidence to prove to people that this has been happening to someone like him. Maybe I am missing something, that there is footage of it, but I was unable to find any. And probably the most damning thing for me is the fact that he was able to find work again. Whereas actual abusers like Bill Cosby or Harvey Weinstein or Sean Combs likely will never have a job again for the rest of their natural lives and are rotting in a jail cell.
Last I checked, baby, that has changed. For cause may your rank stay.
Surely if it was true that Lasseter was such a disgustingly awful person, he would be literal poison to any and all animation studios. But they only cared about his legacy and not his conduct. I am sure that Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein had a vast repertoire of memorable filmography behind their belts, with Cosby having his beloved sitcom and Weinstein producing a film that literally won Best Picture. But again, no film studio thought, yeah, that Weinstein fellow is a deplorable monster, but he produced Shakespeare in Love, so let's hire him. You wouldn't think that Skydance would know about this before hiring him. Again, I am not trying to say that he did or he did not do it. He very well could have done it. I would be willing to hear you out, and I would be willing to see any actual evidence that supports the claims of the women. I just found some holes in the allegations that I always